What's up guys, Bryce here. We're back at it again for another video. In this video, we have another iRacing Hotlap guide. We'll be taking you around Phillip Island in the Lamborghini. Turn 1 is very difficult. The first two corners are the hardest for me. You need to throw the car in with tons of confidence in this first corner, which is very difficult to do. Turn 2 is all about getting a late apex and getting on the power as soon as you can, and also going into the corner, just being as smooth as you can on the brakes, using all the track on the exits. And that I've made so many mistakes in turn 1 and 2. This corner here is pretty much flat out in every car, braking very hard and very late for this hairpin here. It looks pretty straightforward, but the quicker you try to go around it, the harder it is. Another left-hander, basically a hairpin but a really big one, and you're going to be taking a late apex because this will lead you on to a kind of a mini Maggots and Beckett's just straightened out. You have a left and then a right, and then you have another left-hander coming up here, which is very difficult. You really want to go on the brakes as smoothly as you can and stay tight to the left-hand side. Do not drift out too wide, and then brake down for this tight right-hander. The elevation changes on this track are very dramatic, and then for this left-hander here, lift just a slight bit on the power, and it's a short lap, but it is very difficult, and you need to nail every corner if you want to get a fast lap time. That was a quick lap. Now let me show you a in-depth guide. So turn 1 is really tricky. It's just all about carrying as much speed as you can through turn 1, but not carrying so much speed that you screw up the entry for turn 2. So if we look here, we're using all the curb on the left hand side. You really need to use all this curb on the left hand side just because you can get a better entry going into turn 1. And some people brake. I go on the brakes just a tiny bit. You will carry more speed if you do not go on the brakes, but you'll drift out a little bit too far to the left, and then setting up the entry for this left-hander is going to be even more difficult than it already is. And we're braking here just really easy on the brakes, and let the car just slow down, roll the car into the corner kind of mid-track here, and really focus on getting a late apex, trying to apex as late as you can and on the power, and using all the track on the right hand side and just carrying speed throughout that corner. The radius tightens. I've gone off track plenty of times. I just carry way too much speed, and by the time the track tightens, I realize it's too late. I'm off into the grass, into the wall, so be very careful with that. This corner here, I'm braking at the 100-meter board, and as you can see, I'm peaking at around 80 brake pressure. So this is important because you want to slow the car down a lot for this, just because it is a hairpin. Some people take a tight line, some people take a late apex, some people take just a mid line. It's really personal preference. Fool around, see what's good for you and what car you're using. I take a really tight line and just an aggressive line to that corner. I'm on the power pretty aggressively through there. For this left-hander here, use the track on the right-hand side. Once the curbing ends, that's when I turn in. I follow that black, the darker patch of road, and I'm really aiming to get a late apex. Again, you can't see the exit until you're basically there, so you'll get a feel for it, and then you'll know that you need to be on that gas. The key to that corner is get on the gas as soon as you can and set yourself up so that when you do get on the gas, you don't run wide. Approaching this left-hander is really tricky, but you want to brake right after you pass that concrete opening there on the left, and I'm really just modulating the throttle and just trying to carry as much speed as I can through this corner, and then braking down for this downhill right-hander. You don't want to be so far to the left like I was. You kind of want to be more towards the right. This is a bad example. This is just showing you, you can get away with something like this, but really you want to be more in the middle of the track, as I found to be quicker. Stay tight to the right hand side here because the next corner is a left-hander, and this left-hander here is, you can gain a lot of time through here. I lifted about 40, so right now I have about 40% throttle. You can definitely only lift to about 70 and still get through this corner. It's just really all about having that confidence to just be on that power as soon as you can and carry all the speed to the outside of the track. I definitely had a lot more speed that I could have carried, but that just shows that there's a lot of room for improvement in this lap, and also in your lap as well. So that's gonna be it. That is a in-depth guide of Phillip Island. Hopefully you learned something. Make sure to practice, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.